All right, I'm gonna try and record some video. I do have a person in the next room listening to very bad music, so hopefully it won't be too loud. Nevertheless, we're looking at A Week in Hell. It's a Battles Magazine game. I think it was the third or fourth, the third edition of Battles Magazine that came out. And the idea here is that it's a solo game and it's basically an area control game. And you're looking to conquer each of these individual areas that have either a white or red circle on them. The orange ones are neutral. You can't see the orange ones, they're just out of frame. But I thought I'd walk through a brief combat and show you the good and the bad of pushing your luck here. So you can either move or fight. So these chaps had recently conquered this zone here, and so they didn't take any damage, and so they are now looking in the next turn. They're going to attack, or in this current phase, I should say. So there are multiple phases that you repeat in a given turn, and we're still on turn 1 and we're on phase 8 here. And so company Alpha Company is looking to tackle this 2-rated area. It's the Way University, right? And so you pull a random NVA chit out and you get a number from 3 onward, from 1 to 4 basically. And this guy has a rating of 3. I am assaulting with this unit and supporting with this unit, so I get to use both of the combat values. So it's a combat value of 4, and then I could have had the third unit or platoon supporting if he was in position, but he wasn't. And then he would then be able to swap out with the support guy, and he would actually be called in reserve, and this dude would be support. And if he took a hit, I could then swap him out, and I think that happens pretty much basically automatically. That's where I'm not very crystal clear on the rules. There are a couple of little issues here and there with wording, as to be expected from a French translation type of thing. But pretty clear rules overall. Nevertheless, I've got a strength of 4 versus strength of 3. What we're doing here then is we go over to the USA CRT, the combat results table, and we're going to look at the combat value, and then we're going to look at the zone number. Every zone is going to give you a different set of results. So a zone 4 will be more difficult to fight in, or a 5 will be even more difficult to fight in, and deadlier to both sides, versus a 1, which is easier to fight in, but harder to get the results that you want. It's a little funky like that. Roll a d6, so I roll a 6. So in this zone 2, with a combat strength of 4, I look across the little columns, and I go to zone 2, and I scroll down to 6, and I'm going to actually inflict 3 stat losses. So that would be 3, 2, 1, and that would be the 3 hits there on that guy, and that would actually, kill him, right? Because that's 3 hits taken away. I don't believe I need to get the 4th hit to kill him, so that's how that would work, and so he would be gone. Now, if I had got 2 hits and he had 1 step left, this chap can then advance into the hex, into the zone, and it depends on the dividing lines. Some dividing lines are solid lines and some are dotted lines. That's going to impact some other things. There's an opportunity here to have wounded Marines, which you then need to sort of pivot into a recovering the wounded Marines mechanic that we won't get into right now. But nevertheless, I would then advance into here if he was still here. This guy can stay here, and then they're going to attack again. And then you just go through rounds of combat and keep accruing hits and things like that. Well, so that's what would have happened there. Now, interestingly enough, because this guy was eliminated, and he was eliminated straight off the bat, that's actually not a good thing, because I wasn't in the zone when I cleared it, when I eliminated all the guys. So that zone is still going to be active, per se. So I'm going to have to attack it again next turn So you basically, from what I'm understanding, you need to have 2 rounds of combat. So the second round I would move in, and then we would fight again, and I would finish clearing this zone out. So let's have a look at a different area to see what it looks like when things go wrong. And we can see just over here, actually. Let's zoom over there a little bit. Angle the camera up. And there we go. I'm doing all this from the side here, so it's a little tricky. We were trying to attack into this zone here with a attack factor of 4 versus a defense of 3. It's a 4 rated zone. We went through 1 round of combat, and I got into the zone. I took a hit on the support factor, took a hit on this guy. So I put an initial green hit marker on them. Doesn't affect their ability to fight. We then had fought again. This guy took 2 hits, so he went straight to red. This guy took a hit, so he flipped from green to orange. And we rotated the support in, pulled this guy out, did another round of combat, taking a -1 DRM because now I'm a red, right? And in fact, this guy would have had to retreat out when he got the red. So he retreated out. We swapped these support and reserve guys around, and then we kind of went for it from there. And so you can keep swapping these guys backwards and forwards as you see fit. But nevertheless, what we ended up doing was clearing that zone. But once again, because we were not in the zone, it remains in a enemy-controlled state. So now that I've got these guys all buggered up with weakened fighting capability and etc., I've now got to regroup them during the night turn, which I now want the night to come on. Whereas before I was hoping for delays in the night so that I could make more progress, because we've got to conquer the entire map pretty much to win the game. And I'll show you that in a second here. I'll zoom out and we'll zoom across here, and you can see this is the entire map. Turn that light out. So this is the entire map. There are a lot of zones in here. The red ones are VP locations, so we've got to capture all the red ones. Clear all these others. Now, fortunately, a lot of them are single digit. They're 1s, and there's a few 2s in here, but the tough zones are the red circles because they're victory locations. Then there's also the bridge that's just off screen, and the citadel that needs to be optionally supported and captured as well as part of the historical narrative of the game. So pretty interesting stuff. You're using command points over here. On this little table here, you're bringing reinforcements in via convoy or helo, which I've secured the LZ down here. You had to secure that and clear it and make sure that it was locked down. As you finish a successful combat, you put end fighting marker down, and then the next phase. The next phase, you will then attempt to make sure that is secured and cleared, and you're going to roll a die, and the number needs to be higher than this particular number that you see here. So obviously clearing the red zones, I got to roll 4 or more to clear it. I can get a +1 if I've got a supporting unit with me. It's going to be pretty tricky, and there's actually one in here somewhere that's a 5, I think, or maybe I'm mistaken. No, I think they're all 3s. This 4 is the hardest one, so that's why we're trying to knock these 2 out right now. Get them out of the way early in the game while we're strong, although that hasn't worked quite out for me. You've got these company commanders here. They have an impact on the ability to give orders, and there's a range for those to work. Really sort of extraneous, not that important. You just got to make sure you keep within range and you're good to go. So it's pretty interesting stuff. Little solo game. Gives you, there's a couple more companies that are coming onto the board. So there'll be a few more units to move and fight with, so we can accelerate the pace of the action and the conversion here. but you're restricted and limited by the number of command points that you can apply based on whether it's the 1-1 or the 2-5 that's doing the actual fighting. Anyway, I thought I'd give you a quick little overview and look at the game. It's what did I say? It was called A Week in Hell. It's from Battles Magazine #3. We'll catch up and provide you some more detail later on. Ciao.